Hello. So this is going to be a little bit of a different video than normal, but today's video is all about, can you survive Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios? As someone who is not a person who likes to get scared, not a person who likes spooky stuff, so I'm going to tell you how I did it, considering I am a chicken when it comes to this stuff. So let's jump into what I did. So for those of you that have not been here, my name is Jessica. This is the Nonlinear Recovery Life of Jessica, and I'm very glad you're here. So let's talk about this, because I am someone who is diagnosed with major depressive disorder and severe anxiety. So scary things are not my jam. The only way I will watch like a scary movie is if I can do it in the comfort of my own home. I can pause it when I need to. I can turn the lights on as needed. And I was not a horror movie fan until my husband and I really started dating, and we would go to Family Video and check out the 50-cent movies, and we would get 2 or 3 of those. But when we got a horror movie, we'd have to balance it out with a funny movie, because I need that balance. Okay. So my best friend Bridget, and also Mark's the same way, but my best friend Bridget, they go to Halloween Horror Nights almost every year, and they love this kind of jam. This is their jam. Okay. I knew it was going to be fantastic. I knew it was going to be awesome costuming wise and set wise, but I also knew that I was going to be an absolute chicken. So first question, what is Horror Nights? So Horror Nights is the Halloween event that Universal Studios puts on. They have it in Hollywood, and they also have it here at the one in Orlando, Florida. We went to obviously the Florida one. And this is their 34th year of doing it. So basically it's the haunted horror night Halloween event. There are 10 haunted houses as well as scare zones throughout the park. And basically it starts at around 5 and it goes until 1 o'clock in the morning, I believe, maybe 2. And basically you just go through these haunted houses, and they're all different themes, and the themes change every year. And that's a big thing, is when they reveal the different themes. But it's a lot. So as you know, Universal has a buttload of money that they pour into things. So naturally, this is not your country bumpkin backwoods haunted house, haunted hayride. This is legit. So you have such amazing costume, and you have such amazing set design and development, and it is just stunning. However, as I said, I am a scaredy-cat. I don't like getting scared. I typically end up screaming. I do a T-Rex kind of motion, and typically I start to cry because I get really panicked and I don't like it. But I wanted to do this because I knew Mark wanted to do it and my friends wanted to do it, and I was like, fine, I'll do it. So this is how I got through them as a scaredy-cat. So first thing was, this year they started selling these necklaces. So these are your Deathly Afraid necklaces. And from what I understand, they have not done this before. So basically, these work throughout the park, not in the houses, because obviously if you're going through the house, you're going to get jump scared. But these help when you're interacting throughout the park and you're walking around, either going to different sections where the houses are, or you are going through scare zones, or you're trying to get to a ride or a food place, whatever. That's what this is for. So basically you just put this on your neck, you turn it on, and if it's on, the scare actors cannot interact with you. They are not allowed to scare you. So they know to look for these. So this lights up, but also around the back lights up. So the actual lanyard itself lights up, which was really cool because it kind of helps them see from the back, hey, this is a person, I can't interact with them. So, this was worth it's weighed. So this is $20. And yeah, it kind of sucks that it's $20 after, you know, you pay this money to go. And you're like, well, why would you even go if you don't want to get scared? Solid question, but I'm not going to answer that because I was going for my friends. So anyway, Oreo, do you have to, like, do that right now? Huh? You're on video, my guy. Anyway, so basically, if this is on, they pretty much pull apart the Red Sea kind of thing. So, like, if they're there, they pretty much come towards you and they do, like, around you and they just go to whoever's behind you. There were not a lot of people wearing these, actually, but I was not alone in wearing them. Let's say that. Overall, the majority of people don't pick this because they, you know, they're there to get scared. I am not. What I really liked about this is this gave me a lot of, like, peace that I could walk through the park and know that I was okay. And also it gave me the ability to kind of, like, see everything from a outside perspective. So, for example, I could walk through one of the scare zones and one of them was like a masquerade themed, like a vampire masquerade themed. And it was gorgeous. But I would have been so hyper fixated on, like, them jumping at me and scaring me that I wouldn't have been able to enjoy it. So this kind of gives me that ability to, if I did want to turn it off and kind of experience it, I could, or I just left it on and I got to see everything and take it all in without that anxiety of getting scared. So I highly appreciate Universal doing this year. And they were obviously, all the scare actors and all the cast members were obviously very aware of these, and they were great about it. Because, for example, I had this on, and I'd already talked to Mark about it, and I kind of felt bad because I knew, like, Mark would walk with me, and he probably wasn't going to get scared. And he was like, no, it's okay. And then I'd worried about them, you know, Bridget and my friend Bridget and her fiance Wyatt not getting to experience it either because they're walking around me. But, for example, Mark and I were in the front and they were walking behind us and I had my necklace on and one of the scare actors was dressed as a clown and they had a chainsaw. So they saw us and they just kind of stand there, and then as we walk by, they dip around Mark very quickly, crank the chainsaw, and they go at Bridget. And I mean, they weren't that far behind us. So I really appreciate Universal having these for scaredy-cats like me. This was a game changer. Now, does it work in the houses? No. And if you do happen to forget to, like, turn it off, they're going to tell you it's not going to work in the houses. Because if you're going in the houses, you're going to get scared. Like, period. Because this is not something they can necessarily look for in the houses. And it's kind of your choice whether you go in the houses or not. But speaking of that, let's talk about the houses. So, this year, they had Five Nights at Freddy's. That's really distracting, sir. They have Five Nights at Freddy's, Terrifier, Jason Universe, Dolls, Grave of the Flesh, a WWE one. I'm trying to think what the other ones. Fallout, Monsters of the North was one. God, I'm trying to think what they all were. There's two more and I'm blanking. I'm blanking. Oh, El Artista, which was the Spanish haunting. And there's one more and I'm blanking. I'll remember it in a minute. Anyway, so every year their houses kind of change. And this year the big thing was Fallout, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Terrifier. So Mark and I actually watched the 3 Terrifier movies because he wanted to kind of see, because we figured a lot of it would come from the newest movie. And actually it was a good mix of all 3. So the houses are intensive. Now don't get me wrong, they do a fantastic job. Like the costumes, spot on. Like everything is top tier. The environment you're walking through is top tier. What I did to kind of help a little bit is I actually bought myself a pair of loop, gotta do the right way, the loop earbuds. So I've been wanting a pair of these, but on the TikTok shop at the time, they had where it was a deal where you could get the 3-in-1, which are basically the ones that have 3 different settings on it. So I gotta go this way. So it's hard to see, but there's 3 little dots. So there's engage, experience, and quiet. So engage is basically where if you put them in, things are muffled, but like conversations between you and the person near you are fairly clear, while everything else kind of gets muffled out. Experience is it muffles everything. So like concert environments, big crowds, stuff like that. And then quiet is it's almost like having like earplugs in. So what I did is I got these and I got them a little early so I could kind of like test them. And I ended up wearing these inside the houses because a lot of the houses are all based on timing of the music. So a lot of the scare actors aren't actually the ones screaming or, like doing the voices or anything, because everything's on the timer to the audio that's like pre-recorded. So you have not only the ambiance sounds or the music or whatever it may be, you also have their voice lines and screaming and stuff like that. So, the timing is all, basically it's kind of luck of the draw as you're going through the house, because you have that timing where you may be right at someone coming out of a corner, or they may come out behind you, they may come out in front of you where you see them, like anything kind of, it just all depends on how quickly people are moving in front of you, behind you, whatever. And just where you are, when the circumstance comes. But I had these in and it really helped, because I would say like my anxiety probably would not have let me make it through all 10 houses in one night like we did if I hadn't had these in. Because these took the intensity from like 100 down to probably about 50, maybe 60%. It was enough that I could still hear the overall like atmosphere. I could still hear, the scare actors and their noises and stuff. And nobody could like sneak up on me. But it made it not as loud, which was super nice. And it also helped within the different scare zones, because like I said, there was one in Springfield where it was people dressed as clowns and they had chainsaws. I don't like chainsaws. I don't like the sound of chainsaws, depending on the situation, but definitely in like a scary atmosphere, I don't like them. So having those in and just walking through there, even though obviously with this on, I'm not getting scared, but just the sound is a problem. These helped dull it down. So if I ever do this again, or if I ever go to any kind of haunted thing, I will 100% be wearing these, because these were a game changer. So that helped to a point. Now, it still is a lot because it's just consistent scares, which makes the houses good. And if that's your thing, it makes it worth it, because you never get bored and you never get to the point where you're like, all right, like I know what's coming. I also kind of learned, which this is probably a common thing if you do, haunted houses a lot. I don't, obviously. But as we're going through, I would hug whatever the real wall was, because I knew that like on the other side is where they're going to come out. Or if I'd see like a little like cubby hole or something, I'm like, oop, you're going to pop out of there. Let me move like as close as I can, to the other side. So that helped as well. But everybody that I interacted with were fantastic when I had my necklace on. The only time I had a scare actor that got near me was some of the clowns again, and it was 2 of them, and they were standing there and they saw my necklace and they saw me, and they stood there chainsaw in hand. It was not cranked. They stood there and they had a mini like rubber chicken in their hand and they just started squeaking it. And they got like right here and they stood still as we walked by and they just kept like squeaking it at me. But like that was more just like funny, you know, than anything. Like they weren't trying to scare me. So I think that this was a solid thing and they definitely prepared their scare actors for it as well, because I was hesitant and I was like, if I spend $20 and I still get scared, I'm going to be ticked, but it works. Also the earbuds was definitely the way. Now you're scratching. But the earbuds were definitely the way to go. I did not see like a lot of, because the big thing was like Art the Clown from Terrifier was supposed to be walking around throughout the whole park. I never saw him. We may have just not been in the right spot. I know he's been there a couple other nights. Now, we didn't see him except for in his house, but yeah, we didn't see him. But I still feel like he wouldn't have interacted with me with my necklace on. And also, it's kind of one of those things where it's nice if you can turn it off if you want. I mean, yeah, you can still have it around your neck, but if it's not turned on, you're fair game. So anyway, so back to us doing the house. So we did 10 houses, and if you've been there, you kind of know how things are laid out. But if you haven't, basically they have a couple of the houses they actually like put inside of some of the rides. So they kind of build it, you know, into certain areas. While other ones, they set up like big, huge tents that they're in, or they have you go through certain like backstage parts into like warehouse, storage unit, and that's where they have some of the houses. So even with the precautions of having the earbuds in, having the necklace on, it still did get to me. One of them in particular, I think it was just the way that, because we had express passes, and that's definitely the way to go. Otherwise, you're spending your whole night in line. But because of us having express passes, we were so quick to be able to go to the next house when we were in like a section, that it's almost like I didn't have time to come down from one before I was up, you know, in another one. So that was a lot. The Jason Universe house, to me, was probably one of the most intensive. Because by the end, you're like walking down a hallway and it is just like bam, bam, bam. I mean, they are like coming out of both sides. That was a lot. Coming out of that, I was like feeling panicked. But I did okay. The only time I actually reached my breaking point was, it was the end of the night. We were on the very last house, and I underestimated the house. That's what it was. So it was the chains and Hatchet and Chains, I think was that one. Is that all 10? I can't remember. Hatchet and Chains was basically some kind of like demon hunter, werewolf. I think it was demon hunter. I can't remember exactly right now, but that was our last house. And I underestimated it a lot. And by that point, like, I was getting tired. Like, I'd had, you know, like ups and downs, you know, because your adrenaline's going, and I was tired. And I think that played a factor into it as well. So we went into that one, and I underestimated it. I knew there would be chainsaws. Like, I was expecting that. I had my earbuds in, I was ready to go. I was not expecting that one. I underestimated it. Let's just say that. It was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. But honestly, about halfway through, I was done. Like, I was done with getting scared. I was done with the adrenaline high. I was just done. So by the time I got out of that house, I was almost in a full-blown panic attack. Like, I could not breathe well. I was like this close to tears. And I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame the park. It's just the fact that I had had too much. So I don't know, like, if I could do all 10 again. Especially as quickly as we were getting through them, because I wasn't able to like calm myself back down before I was into the next one. But I know for sure, had I not had these 2 precautions, there's no way I would have been able to do this at all. But I was done. I was done. But I will say that, like, coming out of each house, there's cast members there. There are security at the end of each house. And they, like, I got to, basically, I came out of the house and I went straight to, like, what the, like, barricade they had put up. And I was just staying there, like, trying to breathe. And Mark was with me and he was like, "You're okay. You did it. We're done. You know, like, you don't have to do that again." And I didn't realize it at the time because I was trying to calm myself down because I didn't want to ruin everybody else's night. But I was trying to calm myself down. Also, trying to reassure myself, you're done. You don't have to do this again. Like, you don't have to go through any more horror houses. You don't have to go through this. You're done. And one of the staff members that was standing there actually asked Mark if I was okay. Which I appreciate. And I think that that's important to note is that, you know, while, yeah, it is something to be scary, like it is like an event where you're going to get scared, they also are watchful and mindful. And I appreciate that. I probably looked a little worse than I thought I did in my head. I thought I was holding it together. I was not. But anyway, so can you do horror nights as a scaredy cat? Yeah, you can. It's possible. Are you still going to get scared? Probably. Even there was, it was like earlier in the day, right? So the sun hadn't quite went down yet. Mark and I were standing because he wanted to take a picture with one of the Fallout statues. And he was standing there and I had my necklace on, I had turned on, but of course, like, it's still kind of daylight outside. So a scare actor comes running out of the behind the statue area. And he was actually going after another person. So he scares them and they take off like screaming and running. But in the process, he was also kind of like continuing to scare people. And he turned toward me. And then I think saw the necklace and was like, whoop, and then kind of like kept going. But it was more just that he was still in the process of scaring. So it was kind of just that split second of him like coming at me and then not. That literally, like, I was like, I have my necklace on. But that was the only time that it was even like remotely close. And he even was like, whoop, like, whoop, let me go around you. But it was, I mean, so can you survive it? Yeah, you can. You can do it. And honestly, it's worth it just to see one time. Like, just to see. Everything is amazing. Like, it's amazing. The detail they put in, the time and effort and money that is poured into this, it's awesome. And then the reason that I will 100% probably do it again is to go to Diagon Alley, because the vibe and the atmosphere of Diagon Alley is a whole different world at night. And that's when you have your Death Eaters walking around. And honestly, I've told Mark and I've told Bridget and I've told Wyatt, I'm like, y'all can drop me off in Diagon Alley. Y'all go hit all the houses you want. I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to watch the Death Eaters. I'm going to vibe out in Diagon Alley. And y'all go do your thing. But nonetheless, it was a really fun experience. I'm glad I did it. I don't know if I'll do it again. I probably would. I would go again. But definitely coming with my no scare necklace. And it does say Deathly Afraid on it, which I think is hilarious. And then that's it turned on. So it stands out really well. I would go again. I don't know if I'll be able to do all 10 houses again, though. That was a lot. That was a lot. I need my downtime to, like, calm back down and then go back and then calm back down. But it is very, very quick. For me, the scariest house was probably the Jason universe. Hatchet and Chains, maybe, but I think that really only got to me because of how tired I was. Jason universe was scary to me. Terrifier was intensive. And I think overall the atmosphere was a lot, but it wasn't as bad as I had built up in my head. I also thought the WWE one was scary because of how consistent the jump scares were. But yeah, I thought it was all really well done, and my answer is yes, you can do it. You can do it, even if you need to take your precautions. But I hope y'all are doing wonderful. It's been a while since I've jumped on. I know this is kind of a random video and it's a very niche subject, but you know what? It's my channel and I can do whatever I want. So I hope y'all are doing well. Much love. Tell me what you're doing for Halloween. Are you a scary person? Have you done horror nights? Tell me about it. Have you not? Would you do it? Would you take the same precautions I did? But yeah, I hope you guys are doing okay. Love you. Bye.